Hello, Leo. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Leo is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Leo, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Now, Two of Swords. Two of Swords is a peace of mind, right? It is, it's almost not so much an agreement, but it is, it's almost like we're not participating in the debate right now. You know, it's like we are so confident in what we're doing that we're done listening to everybody else, that there's nothing you can tell me to convince me otherwise. Right? There's a lot of certainty here. This is kind of where the moment when we come to a decision and we feel peaceful now. And now we're not listening to what everybody else might still be trying to debate and argue with us, but we're kind of blissful now because we've come to the decision, we've made up our minds about something, right? So there's a peacefulness in there, and that's about some issue in your environment too, right? I mean, that's a decision that really is, it's an important one. There's something going on that you are, I think what you're doing is you're implementing a change. And I think that, see, it's a difficult change. It's a difficult decision that you've made, but you've got this feeling of, all right, I've made up my mind. You know, we know how to move the energy around. I think there are people in your life that don't really like what you're deciding. Maybe you're ending something. Maybe you're getting out of a situation. Maybe you're enacting some sort of change that really feels like you're dismantling something. So I think people have their opinions about it anyway. Fours. We got the fives. We got the fours. Very nice. And the six. All right. And the seven. Higher perspective now with the Queen of Swords and Prince of Swords. Back to this duality kind of thing, this wrestling with something. Okay. Maybe, now the Two of Swords is different. I get this feeling of peace, of tranquility, this idea that, you know, you're in this kind of movement. You're in this kind of almost chaotic situation, but you feel zen. You feel calm. You feel, you know, you've made up your mind. And now really maybe it's just a matter of implementing that decision that you've made to stabilize the change. This is kind of like the five is the movement, the chaos. The four is now the stability afterwards, right? But I think there are people around you that are opposed to you that want you to kind of put things back the way they were. Okay? We think about somebody that's like, you've rearranged the furniture, you know, and then, you know, your spouse comes home and says, I don't like it, right? What do? Well, this is my decision. I've moved everything. There are forces in your environment, Seven of Wands in the environment, that can't ignore what you've done. I mean, it's obvious. You've changed something. You've done something. You've made some decision about your life that, for whatever reason, they don't agree with it. I don't know if it affects them directly or if they just really don't like change. They don't like that you've changed or that you're different. This could be something very, I'm kind of imagining if I kind of walked into the room after I cut my hair off and what my wife's reaction would be, right? I think what my own reaction would be in the mirror, right? And maybe that's a little bit of it here too, is that we are we're involved in something that's very serious. There's a lot of emotion here, right? It's something that it's deeply affecting you, for sure. And I almost think that you're making this decision, you're doing something, and it's kind of like this idea, we've got to avoid the mirror. We've got to avoid reflecting on it too much because we're going to maybe scare ourselves or shock ourselves or talk ourselves out of it, right? And I think that's hinted at in the Two of Swords too, because this is idea of not using the reflection, not using the discursive mind, but using the intuition, trusting in that little tiny sliver of a moon at the top of this card that says, you know, you make a decision, you trust in it, you don't reflect on it too much. You don't go looking in the mirror afterwards. You know, because we look in the mirror, we start reflecting on it, and maybe we're just really gonna kind of, well, that's the difficulty, right? Is seeing ourselves the way we truly are. Because I think you're making some sort of a decision that if you look at it too much, if you if you focus on it in the mirror, you're gonna kind of talk yourself out of it, right? This Two of Swords is going to devolve into maybe a Five of Swords. We have these other fives. Maybe it's going to devolve all the way to a 10 of Swords where we just completely reverse our decision. We completely, it ruins the whole vibe, you know? Well, let's select the mystery card. Let's see, we'll dive into these cards and see what else is going on, or see how this kind of is applying to your life. But this is the one random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. It's going to go right over here. Tiny Bob Ross can go on top. Happy little Bob. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, but it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this program you feel like you know what that card is, I want you to put your prediction in the comments. Let's do it together. Okay. Looking around the room, first thing we notice, no major arcana energies, right? There's nothing here. I wonder if this is because we're not yet in the middle of any kind of change or transformation. It's just like this is the energy that's going to get that started, you know? This is maybe us in the mirror. Maybe we're already in the mirror. Maybe we're already reflecting on this situation thinking, what's it going to look like if I do it? What's it going to look like if I don't? Right? We're kind of, it's me in the mirror kind of thinking, how would I look with a bald head? You know? I've had a bald head before, many times. Not in a few years though, obviously. But it's kind of us in that reflective mode where it's just like, let me imagine what it would be like if I chose this way. Let me imagine what it would be like if I went that way. And so we're kind of analyzing both sides of the situation, especially when we think of the 5 and the 4, right? We have 2 5s, we have 2 4s. We have a 6, we have a 7, right? And I think that there is definitely something in your life, because of this 10 of Swords, there's something in your life that needs some sort of something. Right? There's something that's not working for us. This is that card that I like to say is the bird cage, the gilded cage sometimes. We realize we're in here, but what do we do? What do we do about it? Something's got to change. Is it just something simple as in I need to freshen things up? I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to just change the way I dress or something like this. Or is this, do I need a change of jobs? Do I need a change of scenery? Do I need to focus on something else, some other purpose, some other something? Because we feel now the 5 of Cups, we feel a little bit of that disappointment. We feel that there's something missing in this bird cage that we're in. Now, the secret here is that all of us are in a bird cage, whether we like it or not, whether we recognize it or not. We get out of one cage, we realize it's just a bigger cage. We get out of that cage, we realize it's just a bigger cage. We all exist inside the boundaries of our flesh and bones, right? There's always going to be something that's limiting us. There's always something that's preventing our spirit from just soaring freely, our wings expanding, and us just kind of flying wherever we want to go. There's always a limitation, okay, of some kind, somewhere, in some realm. There's something that's limiting us. So part of this is that question, maybe this is the reflection that you're going through, is how much of this do I just need to accept as being a part of life that me and everybody else have to deal with? How much of this can I change? How much of this should I fight against? How much should I just kind of accept and make the best of? Okay. Whatever's going on, though, there's these two, right? The Five of Cups is feeling that there's just something wrong with something. I just feel this uneasiness, this queasiness in my gut, you know. And I think Spirit is saying that, yeah, you can reflect on this. You can talk to yourself in the mirror about it. But there comes a time where you got to close your eyes. You got to use your intuition. You got to tap into that moon energy, that lunar energy, that spiritual realm. We need a major arcana card here. Gosh darn it. But we don't have one now. And I think Spirit has gone into the background a little bit to let you do this discursive thinking. Now we've got obviously a lot of the air energy. We've got a lot of the fire too, though. Look at that. We've got 3 fires. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of the air energies. So we've got a little bit more thought than we do action. Okay. 1, 2, 4, and then we've got the 3. So a little bit more thought than action here. And I think that's what Spirit is allowing you to do right now, is to do a little bit more thinking than we need to. Just kind of Spirit saying, well, just, go ahead and overthink it a little bit. Overthink it a little bit until you realize that it's really a matter of trusting your gut, trusting your intuition. Okay. We've got a little bit of water. And I think the water is kind of the basis. It's the foundation. It's what's underneath everything, right? It's down here. Is that thing, this is that knot you feel in your stomach. Something just ain't right. Okay. And then, of course, the earth energy is the physical results of this, right now it's the kind of, other than the water, it's the least prominent element. Okay. It's either change or stability. Change or stability. Does change lead to stability? And I wonder if this is the lesson that Spirit is sending your way, that, we feel something is not right. We see this idea of our circumstances and we feel limited, we feel restricted, we feel as if there's some sort of blockage to our wingspan, right? Like something is clipping our wings here. Maybe change is how we get to a more stable place, a more stable ground. Right? Because the fives, if we were to do this, if we were to kind of take on this change, this is chaos, right? Maybe this is us moving out of our house, or breaking up with our partner, or leaving our job, or whatever this situation is. If we change something about it, it's going to be chaotic. It's going to take a lot of effort to stabilize things again. But you can, right? But the interesting thing is that Spirit's not telling you which way to go. Spirit is saying, we want you to reflect on this situation and what your options are. Okay? And maybe there's a realization that the only way to get to this kind of stability, to get to a foundational kind of support and safety here, is to embrace some of the change, embrace some of the chaos. Now, obviously, Spirit's not telling you to leave your job. Spirit's not telling you to leave your relationship or abandon your family or anything silly like that, right? Spirit is asking you to look in the mirror and have that conversation with yourself, right? How often do you do that? How often do you stand in front of the mirror and say, what would I look like with no hair? What would I look like? What would things be like in a different place? What would my life be if I made this decision or that decision or that decision or that decision? Okay. I think this is one of those moments for you. I think this is a conversation in the mirror. Right? We're looking at the Four of Pentacles. And we're thinking, well, I want a stable life. I want to feel like my environment is supportive of me. We all want a supportive environment, don't we? We all want to be surrounded with people and places and things, plants, animals, that support us, that encourage us when we're down, and cheer us on when we're winning, and celebrate our victories with us, but also, give us a shoulder when things don't go right. We want support. We want stability. We want safety. Okay? And what we don't want, Seven of Wands, we don't want to feel like every interaction we have is a fight. Okay? That everything's a battle. Because then we're so used to that, we take that energy with us everywhere. Let's say you're at work. Everything at work is a chore, a challenge. Everything's like pulling teeth. Everything's a battle at work, right? And we're so used to that for 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Battle, 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 battle. We go home with our family, our pets, our plants, our people. We're bringing that energy with us to our environment where everything's going to be a battle. We're making everything a battle. It might not be them, right? It's us, right? And I think we have to ask ourselves, what change is needed? Is it a change of environment? Is it a change of scenery? Is it something? Is it a shift in attitude? Right? We feel that we feel a certain way, and the environment seems a certain way. So what needs to change? Right? What is the change that we need right now? We see that the way you feel about things is changing. And it's kind of like, I can no longer just accept this birdcage that I'm in. Whatever situation we feel is just kind of, we're just locked up in there. I can't feel that I can't accept this anymore. And then this, with the physical component, this is a little bit of anxiety, right? The Five of Pentacles. It's kind of almost, we get worried. We start thinking, oh my gosh, what if this is where I'm stuck? You know, what if I can't change anything? What if nothing will change? What if I make these decisions and nothing results from them? So this is us too, with the Five of Pentacles, looking in the mirror and imagining if I changed something, and then maybe that's a choice that scares the hell out of us. Maybe the idea of not changing something scares the hell out of us, right? And I think that when we're going through these scenarios in our mind, and I think that's what Spirit wants you to do right now, is to do the mental work. Do the reflection. Look in the mirror. Have the vision, right? Scry that mirror. Scry this situation in a way. And that option or that outcome that really scares the hell out of you, that's the one to focus on. Why is that so scary? Is that the fear of things not changing, or is that just the fear of change? Right? We have to ask ourselves kind of, what are we scared of here and why? What is that option that really gives you that feeling in your stomach like you want to vomit, right? That's why do I have that reaction to that? Maybe the idea of staying in that situation, staying at that job, or having to go, sometimes, you ever had one of these jobs where it's the weekend and Monday morning's coming and you're just like, oh God, I'm getting nervous, I'm getting scared, I'm getting sick. I'm dreading Monday morning. We've all had that, right? We've all had that feeling that I really don't want Monday to get here. Not in just a way of like, oh, weekend's over, back to work, back to the old grind. No, but a real visceral sickness of having to go back somewhere, right? Of having to be in that situation again. That's what it feels like. That's what these fives feel like. We need to invoke some divine energy here, but we need some clarity. We've got to go through this internal process of reflection. We got to look in the mirror for a while. Have this conversation with ourselves. Because once we make a decision, I think we've got to stick with it. And we've got to realize that any chaos we invoke now is leading us towards stability, safety, security, integrity. Okay? Now, on the path of the serpent, we start with that Six of Wands. This is your confidence. Now, we've got to invoke this. This is Jupiter in Leo. This is really an expansion of your capabilities. You realize that you can make it through this, that you can find a situation, create a situation where you can spread your wings a little bit. You can stretch out, where you can feel at ease. And it might be a little bit at a time. It might be just incremental change. All right? It doesn't have to be this big, abrupt thing. You know, it doesn't have to be this big jailbreak, but maybe we're just slowly changing the conditions, right? If we don't like the place where we work, maybe we see what little things we can change. Well, can I maybe move to a different department? Can I ask to be partnered up with somebody else? Can we change some of the light bulbs in here, right? Can we turn the thermostat down 1 degree or whatever it is? Can we get some different kind of, herbal teas in the break room? Right, this sort of thing. And these little changes, maybe it's these little things that make a difference. Okay? But this is the confidence that we're going to get through this. And I think Spirit is really asking us, one, to look in the mirror and do this reflection and do these kind of thought experiments. But then also Spirit is saying that this is all within your power to control in some degree. Now, on this channel, I always say that we can't control everything. Some things we have to just accept. There's nothing we can do about those. There's no sense worrying about those things that we can't change. Let's focus on what we have influence over. What are some things I can do? Well, I can ask for a transfer. I can ask for some better chips in the break room or whatever. I can ask for different lighting. I can ask for a different schedule, maybe. Maybe we need to go in a little bit later. We get a little more sleep, something. What is within your power to control? Okay, this is a card that kind of is aware of our sphere of influence. And we're very confident that if I keep kind of expanding and pushing and doing these little incremental things, that maybe your sphere of influence will get bigger and bigger. Maybe you will be able to change things in a bigger way than you thought possible. Okay, but we have to be willing to kind of push the boundaries of things, right? We've got the 7 and the 6, right? The 6 is that kind of confidence. It's that perfect sphere of influence, right? And the 7 is kind of us pushing the boundaries of things a little bit. This is us pushing the envelope. This is us just pushing and fighting for a little bit more power, a little bit more influence. If the 6 is the circle of influence, the 7 is us pushing that circle out a little bit, okay? And I think that this is good because this is kind of saying that, hey, if this bird cage is too small, you can do something about it. Okay, so we're kind of learning where that boundary is between what I can and cannot control, what I can and cannot influence. Maybe not control, maybe influence is the right word. What are those things in my life that I can do something about? Right. What are those things that I should just kind of accept as being part of life and it's just a given, it's just the way things are? And how much do I need to kind of assert myself to change the way things are, right? So it's kind of this idea of acceptance. There's this back and forth. There's this reflection that needs to happen. Yeah. And the difficult thing with the Queen of Swords is taking off the mask, revealing ourselves as we are. And maybe accepting, maybe this is kind of an external situation, yes, right? I feel like it's something to do with work or something about the interactions with other people in kind of a professional way. But with the Queen of Swords, I think that Spirit's asking us to also do this reflective exercise about ourselves, right? What are some things about myself that are just givens that I just need to accept? This is just the way I am. And how much do I have an influence over kind of molding or changing the way I am? A lot of people, let's say people who are just generally kind of rude people, they might say, well, this is just how I am. I was born with a mouth on me. And I always hear that from, I've heard on TV or whatever, right? I'm winking. We've all heard that. And I think it's silly because, if we assume that the way that's my kind of default interaction with the world, and that's just the way it is. This is just how I am. I'm not working on improving that in any way. I'm kind of accepting this birdcage, this limitation, and I'm just saying, well, if you don't like my mouth, then that's just too bad, and that's fine. Yeah, I think I'm not expecting anybody else to change, or expecting anybody else to do any kind of self-work, or to be kind. I would like it if everybody were kind. But I just think that's a silly statement. Well, I was born with a mouth on me and nothing I can do about it. It's just the way I am. Well, that's really kind of like self-defeating, you know? And to me, that shows that we're not working on ourselves, that we're not trying to improve, we're not trying to do any better. And I know it's tongue-in-cheek and it's just whatever, it's silly and fun. But people, I think, sometimes use that as an excuse of why I have this, why I interact with the world the way I do. I was just born, this is just how I am. I can't help it, you know? So there's a refusal to look at ourselves and realize that, hey, maybe this isn't the best way of me to interact with the world. Maybe I could be a little kinder or nicer. Let me find out why I'm so just like rude and abrasive toward people, you know? But I think that we make an excuse and we just say, this is just how I am. I was born this way. I was born with a mouth on me. This is the way I am. Because we're not willing to accept the fact that maybe this is not the way I am. Or if this is the way I am now, maybe it's not the way I want to be or the way I should be, right? But this is a whole complex situation because who's to say how you should be and how you should not be? Well, I think it's that feeling in your gut, you know? I think it's that what Spirit's asking us to do is to tap into that intuition. We'd have to do this reflection, but then who says what's right or wrong? Well, it's that higher self. It's that higher intuition, that gut, you know? Because maybe this is the way I am now, but if I really look at it and really reflect on it, maybe I don't like it. Maybe I don't like this interaction with people. Maybe it's covering up something else that's going on within me. Okay? And yes, I do know people that are kind of rude people, and they just say, that's just the way I am. You know, I've worked with people like that. And I don't think they really had a good experience at that job, in that workplace, you know, because especially when we're all there on the clock trying to do our best, the last thing we want is for someone to just be rude and unkind for really not really an apparent reason. You know, we all have to be together here at this job for 8, 10, 12 hours. Let's at least just be kind of cordial to each other, you know. Anyway, my personal rant, I'm sorry about that. But I feel like that is a big task for the Queen of Swords, and that's why this card's in the position of what we do not want. Most of us do not want to realize that the way I am is maybe not the best way that I could be. Maybe I got to look at it and think of doing something differently. What's within my power to control? Was I born with this mouth on me, or is this something that I've learned over time through my experience? If it's something that I can be aware of and something that I can maybe work on a little bit to improve the harmony that I feel with other people around me. You know, not because anybody else is telling me that it's wrong, but because I want a better experience of life. Okay? So we're ending now with that Prince of Swords, which is also a reflective card. It's air on air. There's 2 air here, there's 2 air here. This is the air that's looking inside, at the water energy inside, looking at what is uncomfortable. It's the Queen of Swords, right? It's water of air. So these are very much connected. I do want to do a couple of things here. Let's do a Language of Flowers affirmation card. The stock, slow down. The pace must abate before it's too late. I think that is a wise message. I think that's coming from Spirit saying to slow down and look in the mirror. Do that reflective exercise. You know, I think it's good. I think it'll be worthwhile. I'm trying to get some major arcana energy in here. Let's see what this is. Maybe that'll be the Lust or Strength card, right? Your power card. I'll get to ring the bell. I kind of feel like it's going to be the Star or the Hermit. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. Here it is. The Star. Yes. Because the Star is that energy, and I don't know if you watched the daily reading last week, but the Star is that divine energy, that major arcana light that illumines what's going on within us. It is that light shining from above inside of us, showing us what's going on, even if we don't want to see it. Everything is apparent now, right? So first of all, the first phase of the Star card is us seeing what is within us, seeing what's going on in here. And it's only by dealing with what's inside that we then see the proper way forward. So we have to do both of these introspective, reflexive, reflective, air energy tasks, right? We have to do the inward reflection on what I'm doing, how I'm behaving, what my part of this is, how I'm feeling, all these things, and then what's going on outside of me, right? The only way we're going to see clearly out here is if our internal window is clean, right? We've got to wipe down the windows, clear off the lens so that we can see what's going on out there. Yeah, star energy. Beautiful, perfect, exactly what we need right now. We're going to do an extended. I think we need that too. If you want to stick around, click on the link up there. There's also a link down below. New readings for Leo every Tuesday and Saturday, 6 a.m. Chicago time. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It is totally free, does not cost you anything. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. Let me know how you're doing. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.